We have a new leader here in Salem, Indiana. Michael Self with that Venturini Motorsports number 25 to the lead. Carson Hocevar drops back to second in the number 28.
Michael Self worked on one thing. As they said, what do we need to work on? How about the turn off or turn number 2? Here we go down the backstretch. This is a replay of the race for the lead down the back straightaway. Self went to the bottom. He said that's what they worked on, getting the car to turn down there to get that position set for a pass into turn 3. Beautiful move.
You talked about patience here for a lot of these drivers, and Chandler Smith talked about racing the racetrack. Here we see Sam Mayer in the number 21, Brett Holmes in the 23, and there is Harrison Burton, who had to drop to the back of the field here today in that white number 15. He is the substitute driver for Christian Eckes, the point leader, who has flu-like systems and is in a nearby hotel. Almost a little contact there between Mayer and Brett Holmes, but a little bit more of an aggressive nature that we're seeing early in this show, and that might be because we have some threatening skies all around. These drivers know, whoa, so close there off of turn number 2. They know if we get to lap 101, this race would be official if the rain came and set in here at Salem today.
We're now at the point, Bob, General Tires have 31 laps of wear, now 32 laps of wear on them. The good is gone. The tires are now starting to degrade where we might see speeds backing up, so they really wanted to be aggressive at the start. Talking to several drivers about lap 30 is the magical moment for new tires. They had to qualify on new tires. Start the race on those tires they qualified, and now we're at the point now where can we see Brett Holmes advance? Can we see Harrison Burton move forward? He's up to 9th now in that white number 15.
I can't emphasize the weather enough. When we arrived this morning, it just poured here. And you see Joe Graff Jr. actually stacking up the field a little bit. That Eat Sleep race machine for the number 7, a battle for 6 on the racetrack. Mayer to the bottom side. Mayer with that GMS team, close-quartered racing right there.
Mayer was the fastest car throughout practice yesterday, so cars mocked up late. He ended up 4th, but he had a fast car every time he hit the track with Marty Lindley at the crew chief duties, making the turns on that car. He went right there with Zane Smith a year ago to Marty Lindley. Zane Smith, Marty Lindley went to 2nd in points. They sat on the pole here at this race, so getting Sam Mayer comfortable, bringing that veteran crew chief notebook of Marty Lindley.
Let's go down to Derek Bertisiglio.
Oh, down here in the Travis Braden pit, as you can see, the crew member has the jacking, the jack wrench in his hand, getting ready to turn some wedge into that car, but they also had a little bit of a problem. They scraped the wall earlier in the day, and it affected the handling of the car just a little bit for the 27. He's currently running in the 11th spot right now. They want to bring him in, but they don't want him to lose a lap out there on the racetrack, so they're trying to keep him out there for as long as he can, maybe get a caution, bring Travis Braden down pit road so they can fix some of the body work, and also make some adjustments on that 27 machine.
Good info on Travis Braden, 2nd in points coming into this one, but we continue to look at this pack of cars right here. Interesting racing right here amongst some of those kids that we've been talking about. Fast Kids Club onboard camera for Joe Graff Jr. And look at how close that they get to the wall in 3 and 4.
And Graff's been able to hold that line, but he's losing speed through turns 3 and 4. That's where he's getting eaten up. That's where Sam Mayer got by him. That's where Tanner Gray is getting the advantage here in the number 54 ahead of him, out the windshield of that Chad Bryant Racing Ford. You see the distance. He's pulling away, entering into turn 3. This end is where I'm sure Mike Bliss, his driver coach, is coaching him through, giving him the difference. Here's where they're running. Here's where you need to pick up that gas pedal under green flag.
Harrison Burton has brought the number 15 to the 9th spot. So Burton moving through the field. Got the call late last night around the 11 o'clock hour. Hopped on a flight with his dad. They are here at Salem Speedway. While Harrison Burton is in that race car, Christian Eckes, the point leader, is in the hospital with flu-like conditions. Let's go to Derek once more.
Well, you guys were just talking about Harrison Burton, and I actually had a chance to catch up with him before he walked into the racetrack, and I asked him, how did all this come about? He said, I got a phone call at about 11 o'clock last night to be here, so my father and I flew in this morning to replace Christian, and I said, are you going into this green not knowing any of the car at all? He says, actually, no, I feel pretty comfortable. I've raced with these guys before. I know the crew chief, and I actually know this car very well. So I feel good going into this race today. Plus, we got to hand it to Harrison Burton. He knows these guys because they won a little race called Daytona at the beginning of the season.
Indeed, they did. Harrison Burton, one of the biggest races wins of his career. Mom Kim and Dad Jeff were very happy in Daytona. He's raced here at Salem before, and this race car, not too shabby. It's the same car that Christian Eckes won with here 1 year ago.
He's going to join this graphic here in a moment. The pace he's on. Harrison Burton on a charge from the tail here.
Michael Self still leads here at Salem. The ARCA Menards Series 200 at Salem Speedway. Round number 3 on the championship schedule, 20 races strong. We will visit Salem, Indiana twice this year on MAV TV. Quite the battle that we have had here in this portion of the field. It's been interesting to watch. Tommy Vine, top 10 in points coming into this one. On board with him right there, but this a 200-lap race. We have been racing here at Salem Speedway for so long. This is the 105th ARCA race at Salem Speedway.
So we can say ARCA has been racing at Salem forever. In reality, this is the birth of stock car racing in 1947. NASCAR wasn't founded until a year later. I mean, we've been racing the stock cars here forever at Salem Speedway. I love this place.
We are more than 50 laps to the good here. A lot of teams wondering if we are battling to the halfway point, and there we see some drops on the camera lens. Rain is in the area here at Salem Speedway. We expected a possibility of Mother Nature to visit us here today. We saw her presence early. It washed everything off the racetrack. We got this race underway, and now there is a close weather front if we look at the radar. So Michael Self, 55 laps in, leading this field. He is charging hard and opening up a gap over Carson Hocevar.
Hocevar is maintaining, but here comes Ty Gibbs. Here comes Chandler Smith. 15 and 16-year-old drivers that are chomping at the bit to get a hold of this veteran. The number 25 of Michael Self will prove he can win anywhere here in ARCA by winning at Pensacola Five Flag Speedway in early March.
The gap between Michael Self and the 28 here of Carson Hocevar is nearly an entire straightaway. Ty Gibbs running in that third spot. What do you have on him, TP?
We've got a lot of confidence from Ty Gibbs. When I talked to him right before the green, he said, I feel more confident going into this race today than I did going into Pensacola. I've run this race, I've run in this car before, I've tested it, I feel comfortable in it, and actually I feel like we have a stronger chance of winning than we did at Pensacola. If you remember at Pensacola, he pulled off a daring last lap move to take that second spot away, and after talking with Mark McFarland, I said, you guys have never been here before. What kind of notes do you refer to for setup on this car? Mark McFarland went back to his old MDM notebook and put a setup in this car this afternoon for Ty Gibbs, and it's working out really good for Ty Gibbs. He thinks that he can win this race this afternoon.
He has never seen this racetrack. He tested here a couple of weeks ago, came here, and he told me today it was very intimidating for him, Jim, especially up in turns 3 and 4. But honestly, he feels very at home now in 3 and 4. He said, man, if I drive it easy up there, it's easier to get around this racetrack. And he said turns 1 and 2 is a breeze. So he's liking this tough racetrack. He's holding up Chandler Smith right now, though. We'll see how he is. Again, testing, you're here with one car or two cars, never side by side. Here, Ty Gibbs and that green M on the hood, that big claw, the Monster Energy sponsorship. That car's getting clawed at by the Craftsman tool, knocking on the back bumper. That's a ball peen saying, hey, I'm right here. Ty, if you enter turn 3 that slow again, I'm going to eat you right up. Look at this. Chandler Smith in that number 20 is making a serious time heading into turn 3. And Ty Gibbs, the grandson of Super Bowl winning NFL coach Joe Gibbs, loses a spot, but I think that right there shows maturity as well. He did not fight Chandler Smith for that spot. Mark McFarland leading that team for Joe Gibbs Racing, doing a great job. Chandler Smith now up to 3rd and starting to stalk and try to track down that 28 of Carson Hocevar. Keep in mind that crew chief's notebook, McFarland for the youngster Ty Gibbs. The number 20 machine is Chandler Smith. He's got a veteran crew chief as well. They've got a long list of things at Billy Venturini's camp. They've won 4 of the last 6 races here. Venturini Motorsports has at Salem Speedway. Chandler Smith loves this racetrack. Came so close, as Derek noted earlier in the show, to actually winning his first attempt here in this race last year. Cut a tire on the last lap, hit the wall, and then dominated the fall race. Look at this. So close off of turn number 2. It was a little bit of a wiggle there. Chandler Smith able to capitalize, and a little bit of rubbing down there in turn number 2 as well. Chandler Smith to 2nd. A little bit of indecision there. Carson may have wanted to come across the bottom of that racetrack. That's a preferred line. Come right down the middle like they are here. But Chandler was too far up on him. The number 20 of Smith takes the lead 64 laps into this. Let's see how he can gap him here. He led 117 laps in his debut at Salem Speedway. But it came down to pit stops, Bob. He was beat out of the pits by the eventual winner, Christian Eckes, last spring. Chandler Smith has led more than 800 laps in just 9 starts in his career. It's incredible what Chandler Smith, the teenager out of Georgia, has done. Michael Self feels like he's the old dude. What is he, 27 years old and running for a championship for the first time in the ARCA Menards series, and now putting Brett Holmes plowing through the laps here in the ARCA Menards Series 200 at Salem Speedway. Michael Self crushing the competition. Second place, nowhere in sight whatsoever for the driver of the Sinclair number 25. Let's find out more from that team with Derek Bernasiglio.
Well, it's a huge treat when you can run a full season of racing. And they always say that green is a bad luck color in racing, but Michael Self doesn't believe that. The green Sinclair Oil car runs out in front right now, and Sinclair Oil has been a sponsor, basically, you could say, of Michael Self for a short period of time. They did some partial sponsorship, but over the winter, they decided to go in full bore. A full season of sponsorship in the ARCA Menards Series for the number 25 machine, and it's paying off in dividends. They won the last race at the Pensacola Speedway, and now they're running out in front right now. He is the point leader. Shannon Rush up on top of the pit box, actually watching timing and scoring with his iPhone, keeps nodding his head every single time Michael Self comes by. They're confident that they have the dominant car this afternoon.
And Derek's right. Green has always been supposedly unlucky in racing. I know my dad showed up to a circle track the first time he raced. He had a green race car, and everybody stared at him and stayed away from him because of that green color.
Michael Self in the speed chart is faster than any other car on the track. He's a full half a second faster per lap than Chandler Smith, but the speed and the pace is about a second, 1.7, 1.8 seconds off of what we had early on here. So the tire wear is certainly making this pace a bit slower. As fast as these guys are, we're looking at 10 cars, 9 cars on lead lap right now.
Travis Braden, there you see some trouble on the right side of that number 27. He came in here second in points, was hoping to have a good run, and that team racing with heavy hearts here today at Salem.
Yeah, Jason Red Morris unfortunately passed away since our last ARCA race in a highway accident. Our thoughts are with his wife Julia and their 2 kids, and the racing community suffers when one of us is no longer here, and Jason unfortunately passing away from a highway incident in Ohio, his native state. And I've known Jason a long time, and to see Red have fun like he did at Pensacola, it's a great cherished memory now for a man who's now watching down from above. So our thoughts are with his family, Julia, his wife, and his kids. Jason Red Morris passing away, a key member of the road crew on the number 27 for RFMS Racing.
Braden going another lap down here at Salem today. Michael Self continues the charge at the top of the field. Corey Heim in that number 22, running in the 6th spot. There is Tommy Vai, the Sportsman modified competitor around the upstate New York region, running 12th right now. It's pretty good around Orange County Speedway.
Yeah, he runs other dirt tracks, and the Sportsman modified is a lot different than stepping onto the grounds here at Salem Speedway, a track that's been last repaved in 1977 for most of it, 2014 for the other half of it. Getting around on this racetrack can be a challenge for anybody, regardless of talent. But that dirt experience paying off for him when his car gets loose, Tommy Vai gets faster.
Let's go to DP.
We were talking about Tommy Vai just a second ago, and you know, he's really one of the more nicer, personable guys you could ever meet in the pit area. Besides doing the ARCA Racing Series this year, he also runs, like you were talking about, on dirt at the Middletown, New York, at the Orange County Fair Speedway. He runs small blocks and Sportsman modifieds, and I said to him, well, why don't you just run big blocks? And when they ran the numbers, money-wise, they could go ARCA racing more than they could go big block modified racing, so they decided to try the stock car world.
And he's having a good time. Saw him up at the Motorsports Expo outside of Philadelphia a couple of years ago. Had some pizza together, and he just loves racing, and that's what we love about Tommy Vai and what he brings to the ARCA Menards Series.
Saw Tommy Vai racing just outside the top 10 with another competitor we talked about, Travis Braden, who's come now down to pit road.
Here comes Joe Graff. Graff getting by Tanner Gray. Battle for 7. Makes it look pretty easy, Jim.
Gray, however, unfortunately, we don't know what the damage was, but hitting that fence and losing speed now. Tanner Gray, in the number 54 machine, was fast early. He told me he was working on his speed and maintaining pace since his debut in the K&N East Series at New Smyrna, where they won 175 laps in the debut of the General Tire there. He said, I just couldn't keep pace. I burned up too much too early. Unfortunately for Tanner, his pace right now is not to the snuff of the leaders. He's losing space, losing distance, and Joe Graff, his car's coming to life here, Bob. For a while, he was trying to hang on to that 5th or 6th spot. Now he's settled into 7th here. good, consistent laps for that number 77 machine, the Eat, Sleep, Race Ford for Chad Bryant Racing and that second-year driver.
And we got trouble on the racetrack, actually. Michael Self just avoiding a mishap in turn number 2. Ty Gibbs spins to bring out the caution here at Salem.
Hood flaps up and dispatched on the front end. You can see right in front of the windshield those 2 white squares. They're actually made to deter the wind from getting over the car cleanly and disturbing that air. Those were deployed, so that was a quick spin by that 16-year-old driver.
Saw it from the corner of my eye. Looks like he went for a lazy spin up there in the corner. Let's see what happened. Here is Michael Self just avoiding the 18 who had spun in turn number 2.
And Ty had raced well up in the top 5, but he was starting to fade back as these tires wore on and the pace went on. Good thing he didn't have any further damage from that spin. The wall up in turn number 2 knows how to bite cars in a big way if the car gets a bit out of shape here on these high banks.
If there was ever a perfectly timed caution, this is one, because we know there is some weather, some rain in the area. Everybody looking to the skies to wonder if there's going to be rain falling at Salem Speedway. And we mention that because we're only 10 laps from the halfway point in this race at lap 101, and there are the skies. They are dark off of turn number 4. If that gets here and we complete the 101st lap and the rain persists, it could be an official race. Well, so we'll find out what happens here in terms of everybody coming down pit road. Plenty of drama, everybody ready for pit stops.
We learned from history. I talked to Chad Bryant, who owns the 77 and 22 cars. He was the crew chief last spring, or 2017, I should say, when Dalton Sargent won the race, and he won it by a lap. I said, what was your strategy? He said, first pit stop, everybody came in for tires. We stayed out. That's another strategy to consider here. With the weather and track position, if your car's okay right now in handling, you might want to stay on the racetrack and not come up here and lose all those spots with the cars that may clog up pit road.
Here's what I think is going to happen. I'm going to be surprised if not everybody comes down pit road, okay? If people come down pit road, and basically it's going to be a monkey see, monkey do situation to find out. And there is Michael Self coming down pit road.
No Hocevar.
Oh, my. No Chandler Smith
no
either.
Corey Heim.
So Michael Self battling for a championship comes down pit road, takes a big gamble. So the strategy and everybody looking to the skies, those dark skies, wondering what's going to happen. A lot of drivers actually stay out down
Also,
to DP.
Well, in order to save some track position out there and make up as many spots as they could, Michael Self came down pit road. No adjustments on that car whatsoever. All they did was take on right side tires. It was just a 2-tire stop to get him out quick, fast, and clean.
Also coming to pit road, Sam Mayer, the number 21. GM Accessories Chevrolet for GMS Racing. Those are the only 2 lead lap cars to pit.
I think this is really interesting because when we go green, we're definitely going to have a camera on that Sinclair number 25, because with new skins on that number 25, he is going to be coming through the field like no other while everybody else is trying to hold on. Now, Chandler Smith coming down pit road right now, I am told. Corey Heim also there. Chandler Smith does not come down pit road. It's Corey Heim and the other lap down race cars.
Joe Graff is in. Tanner Gray is in. The number 15 of Harrison Burton is in. First time by, only lead lap cars allowed to pit. This time anybody can come to pit road, and here comes the rest of the lead lap cars that elect to pit under this first caution.
Corey Heim with that top 5 finish at Pensacola a month ago. Said he's more relaxed coming into this race because he knows what to expect, and you can see how tight pit road is here at Salem Speedway. Carson Hocevar, who won the General Tire Pole Award on pit road. Harrison Burton as well with that JBL team. Now remember, Christian Eckes, oh, that was very close down there. Tanner Gray getting out right in front of Harrison Burton. There is Carson Hocevar and Ty Gibbs. But I wanted to mention that number 15 team again with Harrison Burton behind the wheel. Christian Eckes, flu-like conditions for him. He's in a nearby hospital, was not able to start this race here today. So Chandler Smith stays out. He is the leader here with Michael Self, who came in to take tires in second. Under red flag conditions for the ARCA Menards Series 200 at Salem Speedway today. Michael Self leads at lap 101. Let's take a look at everything and catch you up with what's been going on with our Richmond Water Heaters mid-race recap here for the ARCA Menards series at Salem Speedway, because it has been fast and furious so far here today around the high banks, right now under red flag conditions, but so much to talk about with the first half of this race.
We knew we were in for pure speed at the outset because yesterday's 90-minute practice, cars were fast. A lot of cars close in time. 0.2 of a second separated 8 drivers at the top of our General Tire pole qualifying. Crazy to see Carson Hocevar win that pole position and lead the first 25 laps or so here in this 200-lap race.
There have been 3 leaders in this race so far. This is the Richmond Water Heaters mid-race recap. You can see 4 cars are out of the race, but right now we are wondering what's going on, because even though we had a downpour just minutes ago, the rain has actually lightened up just a little bit here at Salem Speedway. We knew there was a chance of rain when we came to the racetrack this morning. Man, it was just a downpour. And the team here with the track of Salem Speedway, as well as the ARCA Menards Series officials, they got this place perfect, primed, ready for racing conditions. We went green when we were supposed to here today. We're now halfway through this one with Michael Self leading, but now ARCA Menards Series officials are looking to the radar map and the weather forecast for the rest of the day to make a call. Do we wait it out, or would this race right here be official?
We get here and it's cold and raining. We get here and it stops raining and the sun comes out and it warms up to about 70 degrees. Then we get the wind blowing. Then we get more overcast. Then we get rained on again. That's pretty much what we had all day until we came on the air at 2 o'clock to go racing.
Well, let's show you what has taken place here today as the teams are underneath the tarps and so forth with our Richmond Water Heaters mid-race recap here for the ARCA Menards 200 at Salem Speedway. Carson Hocevar, the teenager in the 28, the General Tire Pole Award winner, and he set the pace early here.
Yeah, he really had a good jump. He actually elected to start on the outside. The number 18 of Ty Gibbs in his debut tried to hang with him. Those teenagers set a blistering pace early on. Hocevar had that lead until Michael Self started reeling him in with that great run off of turn 2 lap after lap.
Tanner Gray, the straight liner in the 54, up into the wall. He was able to continue. Ty Gibbs in the 18 battling with the 25 of Michael Self. Self the winner at Pensacola and Five Flags Speedway. So strong early in this race. Here is that battle for the lead that you alluded to. Self made it look easy.
Yeah, he has a bottom of turn number 2 is where Michael Self has been the best car on the racetrack for the 2nd straight race in a row. Unfortunately, Travis Braden in that team. Wall contact, fender damage, brought him to pit road under green about lap 65 already.
Close call there as Ty Gibbs spun off the corner right in front of the leader, and then the moisture began to fall from the sky, and then the yellow flag was thrown. A couple laps were completed, and now red flag conditions here at Salem Speedway. Michael Self over Sam Mayer out of Wisconsin, having a very good run here. There are only 5 cars on the lead lap. Carson Hocevar currently in that 3rd spot, Chandler Smith in 4th, and Corey Heim, the young hotshot in the 22 for Chad Bryant Racing, rounds out the top 5. We will have an update when we come back here to Salem Speedway. Do not go away. Michael Self leading, hoping he gets the win today. The ARCA Menards Series, always a lot of fun when we come to Salem, Indiana, in southern part of the Hoosier State. We're about, an hour from Louisville, Kentucky, 3 weeks short of the Kentucky Derby. And there is Michael Self, the leader of this race here at the halfway point. Exactly 101 of 200 laps complete. Right now, the ARCA Menards Series officials taking a look at the radar to see if we're going to continue today. The Sioux Chief Short Track Challenge, this is round number 2 of that challenge. It consists of a bunch of some of the best short tracks in America, 11 races in all.
Only 10 tracks in those 11 races as well. We only come back here in the fall. Great short tracks. Make sure you find a ticket to join us at Elko Speedway, Iowa Speedway. It's a wonderful track. We're there with the IndyCar Series on the dirt miles. I can't wait to go to the fairgrounds in Illinois in August and September.
And we wind up at Lucas Oil Raceway just outside of Indianapolis, Indiana to complete the Sioux Chief Short Track Challenge. One of the developments here today involves the point leader for the ARCA Menards series. Christian Eckes was having a very good season, 2 top 5 finishes in the first 2 races of the year. He became ill last night. He is in a nearby hospital, and his dad just texted me he is resting right now and still under observation with flu-like conditions. Harrison Burton, the second-generation race car driver, subbed for him in that 15. He has put that car solidly in the top 10 and is now standing by with Derek Perniciglio.
You're absolutely right, Bob. And Harrison was nice enough to share his umbrella with me, so thanks, bud. I appreciate that.
Yeah, we need it out here for sure, man. I want to get back going green bad. That was not the way we wanted to start that race, and we had a good car to begin, and we're kind of charging through the field, and then I burnt the right front tire off, and it happens quicker than I remember it happening. I raced a night race here the last time I was here, so I just pushed too hard in the beginning, and the right front's like about to blow. So we got lucky that caution came out when it did, and hopefully we can get back going green and get back rolling.
What is it like from a driver's point of view when they just get a call last minute to hop in the car, a car that you haven't really driven in a while, with guys that you don't really race with that often every once in a while?
Yeah, it's a lot, right? I was 11:30 I think last night. I got a phone call. I was like, you need to come to Salem tomorrow. So I hate that I'm here for reasons that my buddy, that's my best friend Christian Eckes, is not feeling great right now and bouncing around from hospital to hospital as we're about to get knocked out. But so my thoughts are with him, and I wanted to do well for him. So I'm a little disappointed how that first little stint went, but I think we can rebound if we get back going.
That was what I was going to ask you next. The car. We're in a break right now, but how eager are you to get back out there and get going? Because you've already made it up into the top 10.
Yeah, pretty eager, It's so hard to pass here, man. You every time you get under someone, they just get the top rolling again and get right by you. So for me, it was so hard to pass even, guys that we were a lot quicker than, and we would pass and yard them, and then would just struggle to pass again. So, we have a pretty good race car, I think, and we had good speed for a little segment when we were in clear racetrack, and then we got bogged back down again, and I didn't do a good job of being aggressive enough to pass these guys here. It's so hard to pass for sure.
Well, Harrison Burton is the super sub this weekend for Christian Eckes, and he was nice enough to share his umbrella. And we're also getting attacked by some pit box coverage, I guess.
Yeah, about got taken out there, man. You had a quick duck, and then we were good to go. So for sure.
Back to you, Bob.
Bob, one of his 12 races here in the ARCA Racing Series, ARCA Menards Series, was here at Salem Speedway last fall. So when he talks about that veteran, hey, I know what the track's going to do, he started 5th and finished 6th last fall and his only start here at Salem Speedway, but he's got the mindset and the speed. This kid likes to put the happy pedal all the way to the floor, and this is a track he can shine for sure.
Competing in the Gander Outdoors Truck Series this year in the NASCAR ranks for Kyle Busch Motorsports is Harrison Burton. Definitely a driver that we'll be talking about for a long time. And a big win for him came in the ARCA Menards Series opener at Daytona. There's Sam Mayer. As we mentioned, the kid, just 15 years old, out of Wisconsin. He is hoping to get this race going green again because right now, Jim, he sits in that second spot.
Yeah, and it's almost it's a redemption race for him. He came into Pensacola knowing he's have a limited schedule in the ARCA Menards Series. In just 8 starts, he's done well. He's finished top 10 in the first couple of races he's run. He's run 8 K&N East races, and he won at Bristol. Led every lap. Dominated. Every practice session, qualifying. That race was recent, but his mindset is still based upon Five Flag Speedway. His car was very fast. He said, I thought I might have had a car that could win there, but unfortunately had a fuel pickup issue that cost him a lot of laps, and he was not able to show that pace. So he kind of looked at me and said, I think I need to redeem myself with the ARCA world here at Salem Speedway.
So Sam Mayer not battling for the championship, but we'll take a look at those General Tire point standings for the ARCA Menards Series coming into this race. And as we mentioned, Christian Eckes, by virtue of his consistency, was the point leader coming into this one. He was not able to start this race. By virtue of the rule book, he will not get drivers' points. That team will still get points for Venturini Motorsports, but Christian Eckes in a nearby hospital with flu-like conditions.
And this could be a great day for Brett Holmes, sitting 3rd in points here because Travis Braden, we already saw he had right front damage, already lost a lap. We also know that Brett Holmes has Shane Huffman on his pit box. Shane was paired with Harrison Burton all of last year, and what a great season Harrison Burton had across all disciplines heading into the Kyle Busch Motorsports full-time seat in the Truck Series.
So here's what I want to know. Michael Self sitting 5th in points, trying to win 2 in a row here. Hey, DP, is he trying to do a rain dance right now?
Well, I haven't really had a chance to ask him that question yet, but that's a really good question. Bob up top wants to know, are you doing a rain dance yet?
Yeah, I'd be happy if it ended right now. It's been a fun day so far in the 25 St. Clair Royal Toyota. Shannon, Rush, and the 25 guys, just the balance on this car is so good, man. I just can't believe how, you know, that set of General Tires right there, how long the thing lasted, and the balance never fell off. And shout out to General Tire. I mean, this is a rough place right here. You know, it takes a good quality tire to run 100 laps at a consistent pace like that, and they gave it to us. So no, man, I'm having a lot of fun out there. And if we go back racing, I think we got a good car to go to the end. If we end it now, then we'll take it.
Well, we just got notification that the race was official.
Wow, cool, man, 2 in a row. That's awesome, man. I appreciate it. Hey, I want to give a shout out, Christian, if you're watching, man. It sucks not having you here. So I'm chasing points. I shouldn't be emotional. Well, Christian's become a great friend of mine, man, and thinking of him today, and wish he was here. But thanks to everyone, Menards, ARCA, everyone for giving us a great car. My family, my dad, my wife Dana at home. Wish you were here. This is cool, man. St. Clair Oil Toyota back-to-back victory lanes and short tracks. How about that?
We're going to talk to you again in a few minutes in Victory Lane, but congratulations to Michael Self. Michael Self picks up the win here today.
Thanks, guys. See you there.
And Michael Self gets the kiss from Billy Jr., and in a few minutes he's going to get the kiss from Bill Sr.
And there is 10-time series champion Frank Kimmel. Congratulatory shake for him. Mama Venturini right there with the big hug. And Venturini Motorsports, their 9th win here at Salem Speedway. That is simply incredible. Nobody has been better.
5th in the last 7 races. Christopher Bell swept the season in 2016. We saw youngsters rise to the top. Christian Eckes and Chandler Smith for Venturini Motorsports winning their races here at Salem last year. And going into the season, Michael Self committed to a full schedule, but the thought was, can he back it up, because he's only run partial schedule in ARCA. He's only had a chance to run 8, 10, or 12 laps in a given season here, and he's been on the big tracks where he's been able to find the support from Sinclair to go racing. So this was a big task, and he's proving he's championship worthy. Christian Eckes, early favorite. Joe Graff, early favorite. Michael Self now is the driver with the target on his rear bumper, because he's got a nice run with 2 wins in a row this early in the season.
The gentleman behind there with the Dino hat on right there, talking to Billy Venturini and some of the officials. That's Shannon Rush. That is his crew chief. Michael wanted him to come over to Venturini Motorsports. They have worked together in the past, and they are really shining brightly early in this season with 2 wins in the first 3 races. Michael, I don't know who he's on the phone with, but my guess would be his wife, Dana.
They started 31st. That was the finish they had at Daytona to start the season with an early accident. This is a huge rebound. This kid's a contender, I'm telling you.
It's official here at Salem. The Kentuckiana Ford Dealers 200 is now complete. Mother Nature spoiling the second half of this race, but I'm sure Michael Self thinks differently. He is a winner for the second time early in this year in the first 3 races. He's actually swept the first 2 rounds of the Sioux Chief Short Track Challenge.
And a great run by the number 22, Corey Heim. We see just 5 cars finish on the lead lap here in this abbreviated run, but we can't talk enough about the Bounty Rookie Challenge driver out of Georgia. 2 top 5 finishes to make his ARCA run towards the Sioux Chief Short Track Championship. He will be a contender because Paul Andrews and Chad Bryant have him in the right place. They test before they run. He had an incident yesterday, knocked the right side off the car, knocked the jack post over. They overcame that. Corey's mindset, let's keep pounding. He's 5th in this race, and he's right up there in the hunt for points both nationally and here in the Sioux Chief Short Track Challenge.
Carson Hocevar, the kid out of Michigan. Remember how young he was when he won an outlaw late model event at Berlin Raceway. What a rebound for him as well. Let's take a look at the race recap here presented by Lucas Oil of what was a 101 lap race at Salem Speedway. The aforementioned Carson Hocevar, the winner of the General Tire Pole Award, and he led early in this race.
Ty Gibbs, the number 18, he's running all of our short track races. He settled into 2nd here as these cars were flying at the outset.
Hocevar looked pretty strong, and then he began to fade as others came through the pack, but there was trouble for other drivers as well. Look at Tanner Gray, the 2-time NHRA Pro Stock champion, into the wall in his first attempt. And then Michael Self got stronger and stronger as this long run went on. Here he moves by Ty Gibbs to get into 2nd, and then he was set his sights on the leader, Carson Hocevar, and made it look easy to get that lead.
That car was dynamite on the bottom off of turn number 2. true, making both the pass for second and ultimately get that lead and gap the field in that number 25 Camry.
Who said Michael Self is not a short track specialist? He was trying to undersell himself when we went into Five Flag Speedway and that race, and now he's won 2 in a row here in the Sioux Chief Short Track Challenge. That's pretty impressive.
A lot to celebrate, really. They put so much work into this. 3 cars Venturini Motorsports brought here to the track, changing drivers of Christian Eckes last minute to get Harrison Burton here. That team had it really set here. That is the team that's going to set that mark, I think, all year long. How are you going to gauge yourself against that veteran team of 3 and 4 cars at a given race?
And you might be wondering, hey, there's not many umbrellas there or anything right now. If you look at the forecast, there is more rain coming, and this place is saturated. And because of that, that was why the ARCA Menards Series officials have made this call to conclude this race and make it official at lap 101 with Michael Self, the winner here. Second time this season. That's incredible. So many storylines in this ARCA Menards Series event at Salem Speedway. The 105th race for this series at this historic racetrack. Michael Self is the winner. Venturini Motorsports victorious for the 9th time here at this racetrack. That's amazing, honestly. They've been so strong, especially in the 2000s at this racetrack over the course of the last, 12, 13 years since Billy Venturini went to victory lane back in 2006.
His one and only victory here, but they've been coming here. They've been trying hard. They have had some impressive stats. They've actually won now 9 of the last 12 Sioux Chief Short Track Challenge Series races. So this team has got a whole lot of momentum, and they're yet to be beaten in 2019. Daytona, winner Harrison Burton. Pensacola in here, Michael Self has gone to victory lane for that team.
Sam Mayer out of Wisconsin, so good at Bristol a couple of weeks ago, won that race, dominated, 1 spot short here today. DP is standing by with him.
Thanks, Bob. And Sam Mayer's had a pretty good past 2 weekends. He won the NASCAR K&N Pro Series race last week in dominating fashion at the Bristol Motor Speedway. You come home with second today. How was the race from your seat this afternoon?
Oh, it was pretty crazy starting in the back like that. About mid-pack, and I feel like we had a really good car overall. I just wish we would have been able to put 4 tires on it after that last restart and go see what she had, but got rain delay and eventually canceled. But I was really looking forward to going out and trying to get that win for Outlaw at GMS, and it would have been really nice, but everyone over there at GMS, can't thank them enough. Chevrolet accessories and their Chevrolet accessories. Chevy number 21 was pretty sporty today, but just wasn't able to get it done.
Well, obviously, you wanted the race to keep going green, like you said earlier before we went on air. But when going back through the race, if you would have gotten the chance to go to the full end of the race, how was the car handling, and what adjustments do you think you would have had to have made to catch Michael Self? Because he was, like he said, pretty sporty.
Yeah, I don't know. I think we had probably pretty much a perfect car. On that last pit stop, we put 2 tires on it and lowered the track bar a little bit, tighten her up, and I feel like that little lap we had after that restart, I think it felt pretty good overall, although we had tires on it. So, I mean, I feel like we had a shot to win it, but unfortunately just got that rain, you know.
Well, Mother Nature stepped in today, but Sam Mayer is having a pretty good 2 weeks. A first last week and a second this week.
Sam Mayer also paying attention to now the NBA playoffs. He said he's a big Milwaukee Bucks fan, being from Wisconsin, and he can actually pronounce the Greek freak's name correctly.
Giannis Antetokounmpo.
There you go.
Fear the deer, baby. I'm all in on the Milwaukee Bucks. I'm all in.
There is Shannon Rush standing to the right side, or actually to our right, his left, of Michael Self. Billy Venturini to Michael Self's right-hand side. His wife Emily to the right of him. So the Venturini Motorsports team celebrating down in Victory Lane. And that Victory Lane, a makeshift Victory Lane under the General Tire area here in the infield at Salem Speedway.
You know, we mentioned General Tire and all the tire wear. They did a great job here. Coming to Salem Speedway with a proven tire once again. The short track radial held up. Everybody was really, I think, equal ground. The cars that tested, the cars that didn't. They found in that 90-minute practice session yesterday, some teams went for 10 or 12 lap runs. Sam Mayer was up in the 40 and 50 lap count in practice yesterday. There's a lot to do with getting these tires right. So when the cars and the tires fell off, we did not see a fall off in the competition. Great job by General Tire here on this tricky racetrack.
Carson Hocevar had a tough outing at Pensacola about a month ago, but he rebounds for a nice top 3 finish here today. Let's find out how he's feeling with Derek Perniciglio.
You know, for only being a teenager, this guy makes me feel pretty short. But Carson, how bad did you want it to go to green?
I was really hoping they wouldn't call it. I was really disappointed when my guys told me that it was over. But KBR Development gave me a good Scott Sports Card Chevrolet, and I think we got a really good shot at it. We just were too free early on. I was sitting there saving, so I just had to back my pace down so I had something there at the end, especially with it looking like it was going to go all the way green. But my guys did a heck of a job all weekend, so overall pulling a third place ain't too bad.
When we had a chance to chat yesterday, you said one of your goals was to run up front for most of the day and have a strong finish. Even though the race ended abruptly and shortened, do you feel like you've accomplished those goals?
I think we got one step closer at least. We ran semi up front. I wish we could have been a little bit more up front, run second and third most of the race, or maybe led some more laps there. But Zach and Mike from KBR Development and everybody just did a great job, and I can't thank them enough.
Well, Carson Hocevar comes home with a strong podium finish this afternoon, guys.
Hey, Derek, did you need me down there to do that interview?
Yeah, you tower way over me. I'm only 5'7". I think I'm like a foot shorter than you.
Yeah, Scotty Mack, David Foster, they were talking this morning, and Hocevar and I were talking, Jim, and we were eye to eye, and they're like, man, that kid is pretty tall, so he's still got some growing to do as well.
Yeah, I'm just vertically challenged.
And he also has more wins than anybody else in a .25 midget and USAC competition. 79 career victories. He and Harrison Burton went up and down the coast racing against each other. So when it comes to getting in the mindset, just the height got him. I mean, I saw Carson a couple